So yeah, I put a bit of a privacy situation, but there's the post. And yeah, I gotta clean this up almost daily, but this is the tree that flooded out the house too, so. And it's split over there. Yeah, you can see the split right there. Fortunately, when it breaks, it will land on her side there, but this is going to land on our side again. Yeah, all the way from the sidewalk, including the sidewalk, all along the entire side of the house. And of course, all back here, I gotta clean up every week. I was doing it every day, but I gave up. So now it's at least once a week. But yeah, all this trash from her yard that comes over to this yard. Whew, what a long Sunday. You know, the worst part about court being on Monday morning, bright and early, is that it follows Sunday. And Sunday is my busiest, hardest working day between the housework, the yard work, the extra yard work because of my neighbor. And got to get the trash out to the curb, and, you know, got to do the laundry, the bedding, the sheet. It's a long day for me. So I am hoping, no matter what happens tomorrow, that somehow, some way, the judge determines that I do not owe the criminal any money, because he had no court fees, and there's no reason I should have to pay him for something he didn't have to pay for, right? I mean, not getting there is one thing, and you know, I'd like to reinstate that judgment, since again I had it set aside and I apparently vacated because I wasn't there. So hopefully that'll get covered tomorrow as well. I don't know what's going to happen. I just know that my fingers are crossed no matter what. I don't leave the building still owing the criminal money. Who knows what's going to happen. But at least the restraining orders are in full effect, and that's what's really important here. No, I don't feel I should owe the criminal any money, particularly since neither John Matteson, Linda Crosnoe, or any of her friends have ever had to pay a dime. They always get their fees waived. I have never had any of my fees waived, ever, in this last 7 years. And it's cost me a lot of money. And I just don't want to hear that because this man was dishonest enough to not even tell the judge that his fees were waived, that I have to pay. So yeah, tomorrow, that's what I'm bringing up, that his fees were waived. And if nothing else, I believe that should be the legal reason why I should not have to be paying him any money. But we'll see what happens. Yeah, I'm nervous, but legally, I think I'm covered. But, you know, I never know what happens in that courtroom. I'm always surprised at the outcome. Sometimes it's just, yeah. So, 7 years. I'm hoping this is the last time I have to go to court, too. I'm hoping. But, you know. All right. Okay, I got everything I think I need. Yeah, hi, good morning. It's that time. Get ready to head to the Simi Valley Courthouse. The goal today, of course, is to somehow convince the judge that I shouldn't have to pay the criminal, the defendant, any money for money he didn't have to spend. That's right, he had a fee waiver, so hopefully that'll get tossed. But if possible, obviously, I'd like to try and reinstate the judgment that was awarded to me and set aside and vacate it because I wasn't at that trial de novo hearing. I don't know what's going to happen, but hopefully, yeah, no matter what, I somehow don't owe the defendant any money. Like I said, court never ceases to surprise me. Okay, so, you know, I walk in there and I'm expecting to see Matteson, or, Matteson and Crosnoe with her walker. If she went with them, and they're not there. Didn't show up. And then I get up before the judge, and I'm not even standing there a minute and a half. And the judge said, motion to vacate, judgment denied. And I'm like, but I couldn't get a ride there. She goes, I see that, and I see that the judge told you you could not do the remote appearance. But yeah, motion to vacate is denied. And I said, okay, but what about the judgment to Matteson, since clearly his fees were waived? And I guess everybody believes he paid. And they said, we don't see a fee waiver. I'm like, I see it. I have it. And they go, well, it says here he paid $75. And he didn't. So, I wanted to speak with Greg Baker, the small claims advisor, and he walked out with me in the hall, and we discussed it. And, and then I called the clerk who did file that fee waiver with him and waived his fee for the $75. And so now I don't know what's going to happen. Nothing may happen. I don't know. But the fact that he didn't pay anything, I really don't feel I should have to pay. So I don't know what's going to happen. I just know that today's hearing, the judge denied the motion to vacate that judgment. So I don't know what's going to happen. I just know I am definitely not going to give that man any money, particularly since he did not have to pay any money, and particularly since, he took a knife to my car. I am never going to forgive that one. All right, so I'm away from the courthouse now. Actually, I called my lawyer right afterwards to let him know what took place, and he goes, you got to look at it two ways. You still got restraining orders against Linda Crosnoe and John Matteson, and that's what's most important here. And I'm like, you're right, that's what's most important. And he said that as far as the being told I have to pay Matteson money, don't even sweat it. He goes, $75. They don't even throw people in jail for stealing something under $1,000. So they're not going to throw you in jail for owing him $75. And clearly, he did not pay anything for that appeal. That was waived. However, because his fee was waived, the court itself may try and get that $75. So I don't know. I just know that, I've got a restraining order against John Matteson and Linda Crosnoe, and if they do any further damage to the property, it's criminal. And no, I won't get my money reinstated. That was awarded, but it was just numbers on a piece of paper, and I was kind of hoping to, keep it there, basically to hold it over his head, to hopefully give him incentive not to do any further. All right, so I'm back home. So deep down I wanted to be able to hold that judgment. I was hoping it would be reinstated. That was awarded to me by the same judge that just denied me the ability to vacate the judgment against Matteson. I just wanted to selfishly reinstate it so that I could just hold it over his head, so that perhaps maybe he'd have incentive not to do any further destruction. But I'm just going to have to rely on that restraining order and hope that that's incentive enough not to do any more destruction to the property. But the judge giveth and the judge taketh in this case. But it really was just numbers on a piece of paper. I really did not expect to actually see the money. I just, like I said, just pretty much wanted to have it hang over his head. And I really don't feel that I should have to pay him any money, considering he didn't have to pay any money himself, court costs. So I'm hoping maybe it gets turned around there. But if not, then it just stays on record at the Ventura County court website that I was ordered to pay Matteson $75 court costs, even though he didn't have to pay any court costs and all his fees were waived. I know the truth, right? And all those videos and police reports and everything, it originally earned me that judgment. So it wasn't in total vain. And like my lawyer said, you got the restraining orders. That's what's most important. So, yeah. Technically, I guess I could try and resue, but I'm so done with the court system. 7 years, I appeared at every single hearing. Was never late, never asked for continuance, delay, postponement, anything. And the one time I can't get a ride there, I'm not only told that I lose the judgment that was awarded to me, but I got to pay the criminals some money. Like I said, nothing surprises me anymore. But it's been 7 years. I think I'm done trying to hold my neighbor and her friends accountable. Clearly, I've done all I legally can. And at this point, yeah. At least I got some restraining orders. Yeah. And that's the good part. Yeah. But definitely not going to get reimbursed for all of the money I've had to spend in the court system. All the money I've had to spend in repairs. Yeah, no. Not going to get reimbursed for that, but that's okay. Like I said, at least I have restraining orders against Linda Crosnoe, her friend John Matteson, and any future tenants or friends that she tries to convince to destroy this property. And at this point, she has to stay 10 inches away from the fence. So that's kind of like waving steak in front of a hungry dog. I got a feeling she may violate. Who knows? Hopefully not. But no matter what, if she does, yeah, the restraining orders are in place. So there you have it. That was Kelly versus Matteson, the small claims case. And like I said, nothing surprises me anymore what takes place in the courtroom. Clearly, I need a new tube of KY jelly. Oh my gosh. If I didn't save all the audio from all the court hearings, I wouldn't believe everything I've gone through. Yeah, insane. All right. Thanks for keeping up with my drama. And now, hopefully, yeah, it's in the past. Oh, well, the justice system, yeah. It may not be able to hold my neighbor and her friends accountable financially and, force me to give them money. But I do believe in karma. I do believe eventually karma will catch up to my neighbor and her friends. I just hope if I don't get to see it, I get to hear about it. Okay. Hey there, good morning. It is May 2nd. Yeah, it's Friday. Thank God it's Friday. And, it's been a few days now since I got that denial on vacating that judgment stipulating I had to pay the defendant, Matteson, $75. So, anyway, I got an email here from the small claims advisor, and he told me to give him a call this, I guess, at a convenient time for me to discuss the issues that I brought up, because I did email him explaining, my confusion as to why I would have to pay the defendant money when clearly he had a fee waiver. So, and at this point, I've already filed to vacate that denial of the vacating the judgment. So I don't know if anything will be solved, or maybe the small claims advisor is just going to tell me what route I need to take. But I'm going to give him a call here in a second. Yeah, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. All right, so today's date, May the 3rd, it's Saturday, and I'm reminded of the saying, there's more than one way to skin a cat. And, you know, it's been a disappointing week because the judge denied me the right to vacate that judgment that was made against me. In particular, yeah, the judgment that was originally awarded to me was set aside and vacated after proving what a scumbag Mr. Matteson is. And because he filed an appeal on that award and I wasn't able to get to the courthouse due to no transportation, not only did I lose that award, but I also was ordered to pay him money. And in my mind, I'm like, yeah, no, this doesn't work for me, because I had to prove all the vandalism he did, and I did prove it with police reports and videos, etc. And because he appealed it, I lost that award, and yeah, ordered to pay him money. So that got denied. I went to court, the judge said, no, we're not going to vacate it, it stands. And so I'm like, but why should I have to pay for the criminal who didn't even have to pay anything because his fees were waived? So apparently there was another method, and this is it right here. The SC 108, which is order the request to correct or cancel judgment. And it came back, the request to correct or cancel judgment in answer form that was filed in 4/11, right after, you know, the judge said I couldn't. Anyway, yeah, here. The request to correct a clerical error in the judgment is granted. Explanation for this decision: judgment is corrected to award zero cost to defendant Matteson. And that was done on 4/30. So yay, filed yesterday apparently. And then I also got this in the mail. Notice of entry of judgment. Judgment is stated below. Court orders judgment after trial de novo entered for defendant John Matteson against plaintiff Robin Kelly on the plaintiff's claim filed by Robin Kelly on 11/25/24 for the principal amount of $0 and the cost of $0 for a total of $0. So, yeah, I don't have to pay him any money. I may not get to see the money. Obviously, I probably wasn't going to see it anyway, but I can't turn that around. So yeah, no, I may not be able to turn that around, but I did file the SC 140 and stipulated due to the denial of the vacating the judgment that was made against me. Now, clearly, at this point, the most important part is I don't have to pay Matteson any money. And, you know, if I do get granted that appeal, there's still no guarantee that that's going to get overturned as far as reinstating the judgment that was originally awarded to me. But, you know, even if it does get awarded to me again, what are the odds that, you know, he's ever going to pay it? Clearly, it's 0 to none, right? So, but I'm thrilled that the SC 108 was what it took to solve my main issue here, which was being ordered to pay the criminal money. I don't have to pay him any money. That's, you know, like I said, it was a slap in the face, it really was. And I just, he may think he got away with something, you know, he did obviously get away with, you know, quite a bit, vandalizing the property, keying up my car, just everything, just being an asshole, right? but there's a restraining order against him at this point. So that's what's really important here. I got a restraining order against Tim. I got a restraining order against Linda Crosnoe. And all her friends, future, and tenants, future. So at this point, I think my fence is safe. And the retaining wall is safe. And, yeah, I may not be able to collect for the past damages, but at least I'm not being forced to have to pay him money because I tried to hold him accountable in the courtroom. So, yay. If for any reason the appeal gets granted, I'll let you know. Otherwise, just keep in mind, if for some reason things don't go the way you want them to in court, apparently there's more than one form to fill out that may get you the result you're seeking. And in my case, yes, it was the SC 108, the request to correct or cancel a judgment that was made in error because he had a fee waiver. He should not have been awarded anything, any cost of any kind. So, yeah, that was the one that did the trick, apparently. So, just learn from my lesson, huh? So, worst neighbor ever. And I'm hoping this is it, though. No more court situations I have to entail due to them. Hopefully. You just never know which clown you'll see or what act you'll get to entail when you go to the Crosnoe Circus.